Welcome back, everyone. My name is Jeff. Just want to take a brief moment, update everyone. I haven't uploaded very much recently. Last video I uploaded on February 26th. I've been doing some remodeling, been focusing my time and effort into some other areas. Now I'm ready to make a full comeback to uploading on YouTube. Just want to thank everybody for hanging in there. Some of my videos performed really well during this whole COVID-19 crisis. And I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you. Want to start getting back to uploading 2 to 3 times every week. We are right in the middle of earnings season. A lot of exciting things going on. I'm also going to be making some changes here in the studio. As you can see probably up here in the top right hand corner, I've got a green filter over the screen. Pay no attention to that. I'm messing around with some settings, trying to go for a green screen background so I can provide better quality content here on YouTube and in my course Trade Alerts Pro. So we're still kicking along in Trade Alerts Pro. Haven't missed a beat, have been buying into some of these lows. You have to look at some of these stock drops as a good opportunity to buy. Anytime the indexes lose 10, 15, 20%, you have to look at that as an opportunity to buy. In today's video, what I want to talk about is a company some of you probably already familiar with. That's Zoom. This company exploded during the COVID-19 crisis. Now we need to take a further look, see if it's a good buy here or is it the right time to sell. This company does have a lot of incoming competition coming in. They recently had an earnings report that was quite strong. This company is showing quite a bit of growth. Before we get started though, guys, make sure to hit the like button on this video. I appreciate any and all support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. So I think to understand fully the power of this stock and this company, let's gain a little bit of context. If you work from home, I'm guessing you've probably heard about Zoom Video, one of the leading video conferencing software apps on the market right now. Now with Zoom, guys, it allows you to virtually interact with coworkers or employees when in-person meetings aren't possible. This has really helped during the COVID-19 coronavirus. While panic was spreading all across the world, Zoom became a very essential tool, not just helping small and medium-sized businesses, but also helping very large-scale businesses stay connected and conduct business meetings. That is probably the easiest explanation I can give you for why this stock grew so massively during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now I want to show you a quick graphic just to show the severity of COVID-19. I'm sure most of anybody watching this video is well aware of all the things that have come with COVID-19. But back in the 31st of January, that's when I think the level of seriousness really grew about COVID-19, but it was mostly being held in China. The large amount, about 11,700 cases were held in China. And as you can see, over the next month or two, it really passed out of China and handed itself off to the United States. The United States actually became the largest country holding COVID-19 cases. As you see, by March 31st and through the middle of April, as you can see here at the top, the United States grew massively, and it ends around May 8th, okay? So I really want you to think closely about those dates I just mentioned. From about the end of December, start of January, to the start of May. The acceleration in the growth here in the United States was massive. I want you to see how that correlates to the growth of Zoom Video stock. Alright, so now I have the 6-month chart pulled up on Zoom Video. I'm going to start right here at about the 13th of December. We're going to work our way into January. I just want you to take a look. Zoom Video trading in the $60 range, $60 to $70 per share. As you can see, the direct correlation to the COVID-19 pandemic, the worsening and the severity increasing on COVID-19, the more Zoom Video stock continue to grow. As a matter of fact, if you want to go back to December 16th and look, you would have a well over 100% gain easily into the first couple of weeks of March. Okay, at one point, this stock traded itself up to $181.50, so nearly a 200% gain. Like I try to tell all of my students in Trade Alerts Pro, anytime you have a 100% gain on a stock, it's not a bad time to sell. As far as I'm concerned, if you have a 10 to 20% gain on a stock, do not be scared to ever take profits. Zoom has really exploded, and a lot of this has been earnings driven. A lot of it has been guidance driven, okay? So they're constantly getting new numbers in, more and more user engagement, and their growth has just accelerated. My personal opinion here, around $170 a share, this stock is probably a little bit overvalued. I would not want to run out and buy here at $170 a share. but I really see this stock probably has a pretty easy path to trading up to around $200 a share once we start to see a full recovery in the market. All right, so let's talk a little earnings, and then let's briefly touch on some news that actually hit. Actually was a little bit overhyped. Zoom had to come back and make some corrections. First, let's start here with the earnings announcement. Zoom will report earnings again on approximately June 2nd of 2020. So we got a couple more weeks until they report earnings. The consensus EPS forecast for Q1 is 1 cent, and the reported EPS for the same quarter last year was $0. So still not going to get a big number on EPS, not expected to anyways. Let's travel back to their last earnings report, which took place on March 4th of this year. So again, that was right in the whirlwinds of COVID-19, right when the government was advising everyone to stay quarantined and to stay home from their work and their jobs and do not go out anywhere, shut all businesses down, and practice social distancing. That was roughly around the time of March 4th. They had a quarter four non-GAAP EPS of 15 cents. They actually beat by 8 cents. Their GAAP EPS beat by 5 cents. Now, the revenue of $188.3 million was a 78% year-over-year increase, and that beat by $11.42 million. And these numbers really, guys, are not going to be based on their best quarter. They did not see the most growth during quarter four. There's probably going to be a bit more stock pop on the stock price once quarter one numbers get reported, because that would be roughly January through March is when those months would be calculated. Still, even on this strong earnings report and strong guidance, the shares did trade down 10%, but as we just seen on the chart, this stock has barely been fazed by anything. Now, on April 23rd, this is some information I do want to pass along, as some of these numbers are not being reported as accurately as investors might think. Zoom popped after passing 300 million users. During a webinar that week, the Zoom CEO announced surpassing 300 million daily Zoom meeting participants. Here, Zoom announced that 200 million people used its service in March, up from 10 million in December due to the coronavirus-related lockdowns. Again, I want to emphasize, guys, some of these numbers are fake, okay? That's another reason why I do want you to exercise caution and do not think the next earnings report is a given. Some of these numbers have not been reported accurately. And of course, the user growth surge actually came with increased security scrutiny. But anytime a big platform like this grows, security concerns become more and more relevant. Now let's pass on about a week. This might be the most relevant information I'm going to bring to you in this video. Zoom actually had to go back and correct their 300 million daily average user claim. And The Verge actually caught Zoom Video quietly editing a prior blog post to boast 300 million daily meeting participants rather than daily active users. A big difference there in meeting participants as opposed to daily active users. Okay, a daily active user is only counted once per day, while a meeting participant is counted every time they turn up in a meeting. 3 meetings a day means one person counts 3 times. So these numbers were very inflated. Again, I do want to point back, you have not seen a massive buy or sell off in the stock price. It's pretty much maintained well over $120 to $150 per share through this whole period of time. A day before this report come out, Zoom competitor Microsoft Teams said it now has 75 million daily active users, up from 44 million reported the previous month. Now, again, we are going to get into that more in this video, that Zoom does have some strong competitors coming in, and that is something too. I think Zoom absolutely has the best platform, but some of the mega cap companies like Microsoft and Google can be very competitive. They can plunk down billions of dollars and even lay dormant and somewhat ineffective in this space, but pose a real threat to the Zoom video platform. Now, I don't want you to take this as a plea or some kind of reasoning for me to tell you not to get invested into Zoom stock. I just want you to be aware that Zoom has a lot of incoming competition. With some of the things I just showed you, some of these numbers are fake, not being reported accurately. There's a lot of competition in this space. That's why at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly my opinion on should you be invested in, how much should you be invested into Zoom, and really how carefully to play this position. I think there's volatility coming in the near future. So you do have a lot of competitors. Obviously, the Microsoft-owned Skype, they have Meet now. That is moving into the space, accelerating rapidly. Another big one is the Cisco WebEx, okay? I just mentioned Skype. Keep in mind that is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft, Cisco, and Google, all big competitors of Zoom Media. So you got big mega cap style companies in direct competition wanting to enter this space, wanting to cut into their market share. And of course, Google does everything for the matters of research, and Google does struggle with a lot of their products, but again, Google is game. They do not mind entering any space. And lastly, I want to mention Microsoft Teams. Microsoft is probably Zoom's most natural competitor, and they're really acting from a parent company with using Skype, and Microsoft Teams probably has the most angle to cut into Zoom's growth, or at least cut into their market share. Now, again, guys, you've probably heard me say this many times before. I'm a big believer in lots of tech companies can grow and prosper together, especially in a booming space like video conferencing. Just keep in mind, there's only 100%. Okay, anytime you look at anything from a market share standpoint, there's only 100%, and every time Microsoft, Google, or Cisco, and trust me when I say this, there's a lot more video conferencing platforms popping up all the time. If they can just cut into Zoom's growth by 1 or 2%, they can slow them down a little bit, redirect some of that traffic to other websites, you know, that's money in their pockets and money out of Zoom's. The next thing I want to touch on, guys, is Zoom's fundamentals, okay? If we're going to look at profit operating margin, right here, their profit margin is just barely positive, about 4%, which is still good. Obviously, they just IPO'd last year, and they do have room to grow, but still not highly profitable. They have about a 2% operating margin, close to 1% return on assets, and about 5% return on equity. So for right now, this isn't exactly the fundamental gold company you want to be invested in. You're really getting the quarterly earnings growth and the growth of the platform. That's where the growth of the stock is coming from. This is a growth company. Right here, this short percent of float is roughly 7%. I can live with that because this stock has grown so much. That metric is a little higher than I feel comfortable with. I like to be under 5% for all my long-term positions. Now right here, the quarterly revenue growth, 77.9%, that's outstanding. And the quarterly earnings growth, 169% year over year. So that is definitely where you're seeing the big movement in the stock price. Zoom has incredible quarterly earnings and revenue growth. There's no doubt about that. Now they have to get the company balanced out a little bit more fundamentally. And like I said, keep in mind, they have Google and Microsoft and Cisco all coming at them hard right now. So let's get down to brass tacks, guys. I have the 5-year chart pulled up on Zoom, up 386% since its IPO. They IPO'd last April in 2019 at roughly $36. They have come a long way. This one has debunked all of the early IPO movements where usually IPOs grow a little bit, then they sell off massively, and it takes about a year or two to regain their footing. This one, in a year and 1 month time, has shot up to $175 a share. Do I think Zoom Media stock is a buy? Yes, absolutely. And I'm very comfortable putting a $200 price target on this stock. I think we'll might see a little bit of volatility, but it has a pretty clear path to $200 a share. What I do want you to keep in mind, I would not go heavy on this position just yet. It's going to take a little time to see the interference from other tech companies. And can this growth, is it sustainable? Is it sustainable long term, or is the biggest part of the growth over? How much left do they have in the tank, okay? Do I think this stock has the ability to go to $500 or $1,000 a share someday? I think that might be likely, but again, is the growth sustainable? And is all of the fake numbers and fake daily average user numbers behind us? I don't think so. I remember a lot of different platforms struggling with that early on for Zoom. But with that said, guys, yes, I do consider Zoom a buy, and I give it a $200 price target. Thanks for watching the video, guys. That's all I got. Make sure to go down, drop a comment, share your thoughts and opinions on Zoom Media. I would love to hear that. Thank you as always for watching the video. It's good to be back on YouTube, and have a great day.